Hello, good evening, and my name is Joe Lavers, and I'm the Senior Business Development Manager for Wendy Wu Tours. So thank you very much for joining me tonight to go through a fantastic presentation on Wendy Wu Tours, Japan and Southeast Asia. So I'll tell you a little bit about our company, and then my colleagues will tell you about our top selling tours and a lot about the destination, things that you could do in Japan and also Vietnam and Cambodia. And then I'll finish up by telling you about some exclusive offers for you as a Not Just Travel client. And they will come at the end of the presentation. They can't be got anywhere else with regards to one particular exclusive add-on. So please sit back, relax, and I'll take you through a little bit more about Wendy Wu Tours, and I hope that you enjoy this evening's presentation. So Wendy Wu Tours, we are the UK's #1 Asia tour operator. So we're a specialist tour operator operating in that region. And nobody takes more people, particularly to China and Japan, on escorted tours than we do. Most of our clients book our fully inclusive packages, although we can do tailor-made and we can also do private tours as well. But our classic tours, which are fully inclusive, so the price includes your flights, predominantly 4-star accommodation, all of your guiding, all of your experiences, and nobody includes more experiences than we do, and all of your meals, taking you to amazing restaurants, eating fantastic food. If a visa is required for any of the destinations that we operate to, that's also included in the price. We've got award-winning service, 5-star TripAdvisor rating, gold trusted service on FIFO, over 20 years experience in putting escorted tours together, and we really do have the best guides in the business. So here you can see all of our front brochure covers, just to give you an overview of all of the destinations that you can travel to with Wendy Wu Tours. Now, as I've already mentioned, we are the market leaders for tours of China and Japan. We travel all across Southeast Asia, so we have tours of Thailand, Borneo, Myanmar, but also our most popular is Vietnam and Cambodia. Tours across India and Sri Lanka, the Central Asia region, so if you ever wanted to travel along the Silk Road, go to the 5 stands, Mongolia, then we travel all across that area, Azerbaijan as well, Georgia, Armenia, and also the Middle East with Egypt, Jordan, Israel, and Oman. And then Latin America, we travel all across that continent, all the big favorites, so Peru, Brazil, Argentina, Chile, which is our most popular tour, but also the Galapagos Islands, as well as small ship expedition cruising around Antarctica. So a full range of products, but of course you're here to hear about Japan and Southeast Asia. So I'll now hand over to one of my colleagues to take you through these amazing destinations.
Hello everybody, my name's John. I'm the Global Sales Director at Wendy Wu Tours. What I'd like to do in the next 10 minutes is invite you to celebrate what Japan is all about, and hopefully invite you to fully understand why every single one of us needs to visit Japan at some point, at least once, at some point in our lifetime. So some of you might remember Joanna Lumley had recently a documentary on Japan, and she had this to say about Japan. Every moment was thrilling, fascinating, and often very moving. With my hands on my heart, I can say, please come with me to Japan. And of course, today we want to extend that invitation to you as well. So enjoy, sit back, enjoy the next 10 minutes, and let's fully understand what is so special and why over 32 million people visited Japan in 2019. So there are so many reasons to visit Japan, whether it's to see the Himeji Castle in the background there, whether you want to visit the cherry blossom in March and April, whether you'd like to go and see the autumn leaves in September and October, whether you want to see some sumo wrestlers in May and September, if you want to have an opportunity to do a tea ceremony, for example, or visit some of the wonderful gardens that are so that Japan is so famous for, whether you want to visit all the shrines and the temples in places like Kyoto. So many reasons to visit Japan. So, you know, in essence, Japan has got such wonderful places to see, like the Golden Pavilion Temple, Golden Leaf Temple, for example, in Kyoto. And of course, the food is exceptional. We'll talk about the food in more detail later on as well. It's very varied, of course. And one of Japan's most famous iconic elements to see, which is Mount Fuji, 3,776 meters, an iconic mountain, which is very important to the Japanese and the Japanese culture as well. So where do I start actually? Most of us have a very limited amount of time on our hands, and I would urge that if you are able to visit Japan for longer than a week, than 10 days, than 17 days, we have extended tours, 21-day tours, for example, which enables you to see a little bit more of Japan. But if your limit is up to 17 days, don't worry, because in this particular tour, our Japan Uncovered, which is our most popular tour to Japan, you are able to see as many of the sites as possible, the most important iconic sites in the whole of Japan. So what does this tour do? Well, for most, you're going to be spending about 2 nights in most of the destinations. You will arrive at the airport, and we believe that a full inclusive tour has to be full inclusive in the true sense of the word. So when you arrive at the airport in Tokyo or Osaka, wherever you fly to, whichever part of the UK, Ireland you fly to as well, you will be met by somebody and taken to your hotel. Now, some people prefer to arrive a couple of days earlier, which is fine, to acclimatize, which is okay as well. Alternatively, flight permitting as well, you can arrive the day before the tour, and then the guide will arrange to meet all of you at the airport, at the hotel at first thing in the morning, to introduce themselves, and they will look after you, by the way. They will stay with you for the whole duration. So a full inclusive tour with Wendy Wu Tours, of course, includes all the food. We'll talk about some of the wonderful food you're going to experience in Japan, all the hotel accommodation, and again, we'll talk a little bit about that shortly, all your guiding and all your sites. And you will travel, of course, by bullet train on the majority of our tours. It's an absolute must at amazing speeds. You will travel by boat when you cruise down the rivers, for example, and you'll also travel by a local coach as well. So a little bit about the accommodation. The accommodation in Japan is 3 to 4 star overall. And what you will find that in some of the busier cities like Tokyo, for example, massive population, 32 million, you will find some of the more modern accommodations that you'll be staying in. Then further up, as you progress on the tour, traveling from the south to the west, up to the north, to the Japanese Alps, and then back to the east as well, you will stay more in some of the rural areas and more traditional accommodation as well. So here's just some of the examples of the accommodation you'll be staying in Japan. Now, we talked about the food, and I guarantee, I promise you that you will not be disappointed. Every meal in Japan is an adventure, and the guides are there to explain the, you know, what is behind every meal and every item of ingredient, if you like. So if you go to Osaka, for example, which is known for this wonderful dish called okonomiyaki. Okonomiyaki in Osaka is made out of cabbage. And when you move to Hiroshima, okonomiyaki here is made with noodles. If you then head off, for example, to places like Takayama in the north, you will sample the Hida beef. So we can guarantee you that wherever there is a local dish, wherever you are, you will be sampling that dish for lunch and dinner. Breakfast generally are a mixture of Japanese and also Western food as well. Of course, if you go to places like Koyasan, which is very spiritual and a Buddhist part of Japan, then the meals are predominantly vegetarian. And what you will see here is in a lot of cases, when you're presented with food at lunch or at dinner, the food will be presented in this particular order. So you'll have a number of dishes to choose from, but I guarantee that there will be ample of food and you will love every minute of it. The food is very special in Japan. Of course, we talked about cultural experience, and this tour is very much about enjoying everything Japan has to offer from a cultural point of view. So in this tour, for example, we include wasabi tasting, and you'll have a chance for the guide to explain why wasabi is such an important ingredient to the Japanese. We'll do some washi paper making as well, really traditional washi paper making. So we want you to enjoy those experiences that are very relevant now. And some of the cultures, unfortunately, are starting to die down. But we make sure that you make the most of your trip in Japan. The traditional tea ceremony is something that you will experience. And again, this is a ritual, if you like, that started off in the 9th century. It was introduced by a Buddhist monk who brought tea first to Japan from China. Everything seems to start in China in terms of, the monetary system and everything else. So the tea ceremony is very important, and you will experience the traditional tea ceremony. And even when the warriors used to come back from fighting, they used to come back and they used to go through the tea ceremony just to relax their mind. And you'll see and you'll enjoy this, one of the most traditional cultures in Japan as well. Of course, we have Himeji Castle here, a really beautiful castle built in 1333. And you'll stop and see this castle on the way to Hiroshima. Now, by the way, if you were born in 1871 or you were around in 1871, you could have bought this castle for 23 Japanese yen, which is the equivalent of about $2,000. So there you go. If you were born there, you would have been able to own this castle. But in a way, I'm glad you weren't, because you wouldn't be here on this presentation, hopefully enjoying what Japan has got to offer. So again, the guide will be with you. It's the most visited castle in the whole of Japan. And of course, we will make sure that you will visit the castle as well. By the way, this is also a UNESCO heritage site. And then, of course, we spend a couple of nights in Hiroshima, and Hiroshima is very serene, and the guide will talk you through. And, for a lot of people, Hiroshima is actually one of the most special places to visit for the reasons that we know as well. Gardens are exceptionally important in the culture of Japan, and Japan has the finest gardens. We'll take you to the finest gardens in Japan, but in actual fact, Japan has one of the finest gardens in the world, and you will see some of these wonderful gardens, which again, exude that tranquility and peacefulness as well, and harmony. We head up to the Yudanaka area up in the north, and you will see these wonderful snow monkeys, really beautiful creatures. Apparently, the male tends to live a lot longer than the female. Don't ask, and I'm not going to make any comments on that either, but the male, as I understand, lives for about 12 years, the female for 6. But what a life to be a snow monkey, enjoying the hot springs, the natural hot springs, basking in that warmth. We all like to be warm, don't we, all of us, and enjoying that, and pruning each other and enjoying each other's company. So you'll be able to see the snow monkeys in a hot spring. By the way, you'll also get a chance to experience a hot spring in Japan, but you'll pleased to know that you're not going to be joining these particular snow monkeys on that hot spring as well. So here we are. These are macaques, if you like. They don't have too many predators. Some of their predators are sort of wild dogs, if you like, they look very peaceful and tranquil. And I'm sure a couple of these are currently doing a bit of Zen Buddhism meditation as well. Now, this picture was taken in May. There is a festival in May, a floral festival. So if you happen to be there to travel in the month of May, you will see this wonderful floral display just below Mount Fuji. People say, John, when is the best time to travel to Japan? Well, our tours kick off in March and April for the cherry blossom in particular, and then all the way through to May. And then we start off again in September, all the way through to November for the autumn leaves. It is a little bit too hot, as you will probably see when you'll see the Olympic Games in July and August. So we don't travel in that time. But if you wanted to do a private tour or a tailor-made itinerary, if that's the only time that you can travel, then we can arrange that for you as well. But our tours run from March to May, and then from September all through to the month of November. And I've traveled to Japan quite a few times at different times of the year. I was very lucky enough to spend 3 months in Japan in April, May, June a few years ago. And then I went back last year towards the end of September and beginning of October. So from there, you'll move on to Tokyo, which is an amazing city. Again, you can see here the blend between the modern and the old. We'll take it at Sky Tower, which gives you an immense view of the whole of Tokyo. And you spend 3 nights in Tokyo before heading home. Cherry blossom season, really, really beautiful. Can I just say, we have had to add additional tours for the cherry blossom, and we've also added additional tours in September 2021 and also for 2022. Because if you think about everybody who is due to travel to Japan in 2021, and also in March 2021 and in 2020, and who hasn't been able to travel, will want to go now. And that 32 million people visited Japan, and I would probably say that the majority, possibly the majority, maybe about 15 million of those people would have wanted to travel during the cherry blossom. So if that's the time you want to go, please make up your mind, make a decision, and do book, and don't leave it too late. So that's the cherry blossom, as you can see. But of course, you know, as we said earlier, it's wonderful to visit Japan during the autumn, and this really compares favorably to the Boston autumn leaves, for example. Really, really stunning colors. And we're very fortunate, actually, in 2020 to have had an immense autumn in the UK as well, weren't we? We're really beautiful colors. So, but this is almost a magnified 20, 30, 40 times as beautiful. So hopefully you've enjoyed seeing and hearing a little bit about Japan. We have many other tours. We've got 11 tours that cover the Japan. We've got tours that cover the south. We've got tours that cover from north all the way to the south. We've got tours that enable you to use the bullet train all the way through from north to south. And of course, we've got some more experiential tours that enable you to see some of the more exclusive and immersive and sort of harder to get to parts of Japan as well. People also say, what's the physical rating of this tour? Well, for this particular tour, for Japan Uncovered Tour, our most popular tour, the physical rating is 1. So in essence, if you can get yourselves out of bed, this is the tour for you. So hope you enjoyed it, and hope to speak to you later. Many thanks.
ladies and gentlemen. My name's Sandra Foreman from Wendy Woo Tours, and thank you so much for joining me for this presentation on Southeast Asia, which really is a wonderful destination and certainly one of my favourite. Now, let me tell you a little bit about Southeast Asia. It's the third most populous geographical region in the world, and Southeast Asia is a destination that really does have it all. It's got the paradise beaches, the tranquil temples, sensational food, and really everything in between. It's also incredibly fun and easy to explore, and it's a fast changing country with that exciting range of historical sites, cultural activities and experiences that really will appeal to every sort of traveller. Now, let me tell you a little bit about Southeast Asia. Its population is more than 655 million, which is about 8.5% of the world's population. And Southeast Asia is tucked between India in the west and China in the north, hence the name Indochina applied to much of the region, and India and China were also Southeast Asia's primary cultural influences. So it's a wonderful destination to explore. So I'm going to take you through a journey of one of our top tours. Hello ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're well, and thank you for joining me again to share some highlights of our amazing tour Classic Mekong for a 17-day adventure. And this tour starts in Cambodia, flying into Siem Reap, which is that bustling, charming town, and it's the gateway to the temples of Angkor. And we'll fly then to Phnom Penh, Cambodia's charming capital, before we take our 3-night downstream river cruise on our brand new ship Victoria Mekong. And I'm really excited to share some of the imagery of our ship with you today. We'll disembark Victoria Mekong in Can Tho, and then we'll go on to discover the vibrant Saigon, the charming Hoi An and the countryside. We'll fly to Vietnam's capital Hanoi with the fast pace, the very graceful city, and we'll have then the spectacular views of Halong Bay, and we'll go on to explore the Hanoi's Old Quarter before we end this tour in the company of our tour guides for a wonderful farewell dinner. Now, our fabulous tour will include the things you really want to see, including those vibrant cities, the enchanting coastlines and the delectable cuisine, and so much more. Now, our journey starts with the breathtaking sight of Angkor Wat, and it truly is an awesome sight, and you really have to be there to appreciate the sight and the atmosphere of the Angkor temples. They are absolutely amazing, and there's thousands of temples and more still being discovered in this area, and they are the best preserved and most awe-inspiring temples and site of the Angkor treasures. And you'll get the opportunity to meander and adventure through Taproom. And as the sun sets, we'll float along Angkor's moat and soak up the atmosphere and the stunning views. And ladies and gentlemen, it's a great opportunity here to take some wonderful imagery and photographs for you to come back and share these memories with your friends and your family. And then we'll spend time visiting Cambodia's charismatic capital, Phnom Penh, which sits on the banks of the Mekong. And here we'll take a cyclo to the heart of the city, where we'll visit the Royal Palace. And the Royal Palace, the Silver Pagoda, and this is the official residence of the King. And within this complex, you'll find the priceless Buddhas and also a floor covered in 5,000 silver tiles. We'll also visit the elegant National Museum, where you'll pursue the treasures in this complex. Now, Cambodia and Phnom Penh emerged from a tragic past to become one of Asia's most charming destinations, with its beautiful old colonial cities and its undiscovered beaches. And you'll get an insight here to the tragic past when we visit the Tuol Sleng Museum in the Killing Fields. And this is really it's quite a moving, sad area to visit, but it is surprisingly very peaceful setting where the 17,000 civilians were killed and buried. And then one of my favourite parts of this tour is when we go on to board our brand new ship, who made her maiden voyage just in December 2019, and I was really fortunate to be on that voyage on Victoria Mekong. She is a 4-star spacious, indulgent ship, and you will enjoy the wealth of activities, comfort and service on board. Now, let me tell you a little bit about the ship. She is the newest Mekong River cruise in this area, and we do tour on the most unique tour routes. We'll explore off-beaten track, and you'll get off the ship with some of the shore excursions to places that we have never visited before. You'll avoid the crowds, and it really is an awesome experience. Now, the ship was built with the environment in mind, so it is all solar panels with the water treated and recycled on board, and there's lots of wonderful seating areas where you can relax on board. And the ship has the state-of-the-art facilities. So we've got the jacuzzi pool on the sun deck with the spa. You could experience a wonderful massage, go to the gym, ladies and gentlemen, or to the library, or the mini golf. So as you would expect, all of those facilities are on board the ship. Now, the food is absolutely delicious. You'll experience that Vietnamese and Khmer food and dine in a stylish area restaurant with an open kitchen where the food is served from. And we also include the free flow house wine, the local beers and soft drinks. And whilst we're talking about food, ladies and gentlemen, the food in Southeast Asia is amazing. And what is wonderful on your Wendy Wu tour, because it's all inclusive, we'll include your breakfast, your dinner and your evening meal. And you'll have some real unique cuisine experiences and sampling the local dishes. So the food is truly a wonderful experience. And as the day turns into night, you'll enjoy a gala dinner and you'll be accompanied with the traditional Vietnamese folk music and dancing, and lots of entertainment and activities taking place on board. And then we'll go on to explore those Cu Chi tunnels and learn about that fascinating history of the excavations by the Viet Cong, and have the opportunity again to experience some of the tactics used during the Vietnamese War. We'll go on and visit that enchanting town of Hoi An, where again we'll meet some of the local people and be immersed in some of the cultural activities that are taking place in these charming areas, and enjoy having a cup of tea with the locals. We'll visit that historical area of Saigon, where again some of the most magnificent buildings and architecture and sites you'll experience. And we'll visit that wonderful Japanese bridge. And you'll experience that exhilarating cyclo ride through Hanoi's Old Quarter and see those colourful colonial buildings, the bustling streets, and explore the graceful home of the cultural treasures and the galleries. And it's here where you again can experience that wonderful traditional local delicacy, Kapu Trung, which is that egg white coffee. And with all your Wendy Wu tours, we have the most spectacular experiences for you, and you'll be taken to that open air performance celebrating the rich history of northern Vietnam with the quintets of Tonkin Show, which is staged on the water. And of course the most spectacular, stunning place, Halong Bay. And this jewel of the north is such a popular destination as you can watch the sunrise. You'll have the opportunity to experience that enchanting, timeless world of underground caves on the island. And that will bring us to the end of this tour. And there's so many wonderful highlights to experience. So I do hope you've enjoyed that, ladies and gentlemen, and we see you very soon.
So thank you, John and Sandra, for those amazing presentations. Hopefully that's whetted your appetite. And if you make a booking with your Not Just Travel agent in March, then we've got some amazing offers. So we've got free and reduced business class upgrades. So if you travel to India with us, you can have a one-way, so these are all one-way on your return back to the UK, free business class upgrade. For Japan, that will cost you £199. For China, just $299. For Peru, $299, and also for Vietnam, £399. Now this is all as well included with our flexible booking. So it's just a £99 deposit, and the balance is not due until 6 weeks before departure. And should you need to change your holiday for any reason, we'll offer you a free amendment as well. So your money is completely safe, invested with Not Just Travel and Wendy Wu Tours. If you wish to upgrade both ways, then we can also provide that at a further reduced cost. Now, this is the exclusive element. If you also make a booking in March with Not Just Travel, then you'll also get a free airport lounge. So that's a fantastic value added extra for booking with your Not Just Travel agent. And finally, what I'd just like to say is that we have these offers on for departures at the back end of 2021, all of 2022, and for 2023 as well. So a fantastic time to really have something to book and look forward to. All that remains is for me to say thank you very much for watching this, and please do go back to your Not Just Travel agent for any inquiries, questions, or to get a quote. Thank you very much.